Hello, good morning, and as the sign behind me says, come and experience Barnsley. Oh well, we've got the brolly up anyway, and a real bit of Yorkshire weather. Do we let the weather stop us? Well, I've got the brolly up, and we've had hassles over the years at Barnsley, but not for a few years now. It's all has been calm there. So let's see how we get on this morning down at the bus station. We're just on our way down the hill from the car park. See you in a minute. There we go, the Heritage livery one. I tried to take a shot, but doing that took me at risk from the rain, so quickly cover up again and do my coat up again before everything gets soaked. I'm doing badly in You see, the problem is the umbrella handle is stuck down into my pocket in my coat, and that keeps it erect over my head while I'm filming. And that allows me to have two hands free for filming, but pressing the buttons and twiddling the camera around on the tripod. You see, you've got to be free to twiddle about. That was 26026. A driver very successfully twiddling about the bus station, and that's followed round by 22618. Lovely parade of tracky buses this morning on this wet and well, it's not actually cold for the time of year, but the dampness makes it feel pretty horrible. And I shall be looking forward to a brew when I've finished here. But I'm trying to get a few still photos for the cover. Although really I could use last year's, couldn't I? Because there's not much difference about it, except for the fact it's chucking it down with rain this year. Trying to figure out how the flops of rain keep bouncing onto the viewfinder. Well, not the viewfinder, the screen. There is a viewfinder on it, but you'd have to assume a fairly difficult position to look out of it. Oh, we've got a lovely parade coming along here now. We've got 3 in a go, 3 in one shot. Well, actually our shot has now lasted 5.5 minutes, so we've quite a lot on it. First solos, and we get a brace, and he's got a remembrance day. We will remember them sign up. That's a rather nice touch, wasn't it? I wonder if I managed to get a still shot of that. Very apropos for the time, and one of the gold service buses. We saw a lot of those last week when we were down in Gloucester and Cheltenham, although theirs were looking a little bit jaded, should we say. They've perhaps had a tough life. Very frequent service between Cheltenham and Gloucester. I wonder how far afield some of these buses go. I must have seen a few come there and back again by now. And the camera's holding out, I think. I don't think I've done anything to upset it, and it's too much water in the works. Water in the works, not good for the camera or me. Highly overrated, that water, isn't it? Give me a pint of real ale any time. Perhaps the umbrella needs to go further over. Just trying to protect it from the dangly bit that you do it up with. Dangly bit, yeah, 22767. It hasn't got any dangly bits. Yeah, there's a dangly bit, and it's when you've put it down, you fold it up and it holds it all together with a sort of press stud. and if you're not careful, that will end up in front of you, and all you see is a sort of a bit of plastic wafting in front of the screen. You don't want that. I don't want that. So I'm doing my best to prevent it. This is all very fraught, and also my tissues are all getting very wet. And anybody read my autobiography published many years ago called A Smudge in My Lens, and that smudge on the camera lens, if you are not careful and you wipe your lens with a dirty tissue, you won't be happy with the results. Oh, good splash as they go round. Really do think the rain is lessening. Wipers are still on though, but there's a lot of spray. Actually his wipers are not on, so things are looking a little bit promising. I might be able to get the still camera out and get a few still shots in the near future. Actually it's quite nearby. I'm just going to put the settings to something that suits the poor light conditions relatively, up to about 1600 ASA or ISO rating, and just test that out. What's it like? So-so. Let's have a go. As I say, there's no problem about shadows today. Shadows are not a problem. Shearings, hope he's going somewhere good on his trip. Globe of Barnsley. 26022, and I'm now getting still shots of them. There's still rain, but very little compared with the deluge. I'll have to stock up with the tissues before I start filming again today. Our other intended destination is Rotherham, going back to the hassle factors of Yorkshire. Rotherham takes its place as the South Yorkshire PTE has some funny ideas about life. We're protected, our rights are protected to film from public places anywhere other than prescribed places, and usually includes military establishments, although often they'll have viewing areas for the public, such as at the RF stations. Rather a nice touch, I always think. At least they know where people are and what they're doing. And anyway, those rights are enshrined under what's known in Britain as common law, and that was set up 1,000 years ago to protect us from tyrants and those who come along and just accuse us and try and find us guilty for no particular reason and no evidence. Anyway, one of those rights under common law was that if it's not against the law, it's okay, and taking pictures is not against the law, it is okay, despite what anybody may say and despite how people might agitate. Agitators who I won't describe the areas they come from. People seem to take that the wrong way, but it is a fact of life. Some people from some regions have come to the country and agitated by intimidation and threats, and indeed on occasions violence, trying to bring about a change, or what they perceive to actually be our law, wrongly, that you have to have somebody's permission to take their picture. Well, if you were to follow them around all day and snapping at the one person all the time, there's probably a breach of anti-stalking law, but no, taking pictures of buses in the public place, no problem at all. And these guys from the South Yorkshire PTE actually conspiring with these other people, actually committing what could be interpreted as a terrorist offence, because we have Parliament to change our laws, not a bunch of people intimidating folk out doing what is perfectly lawful things. And this is the sort of stuff that we have to put up with. I got stopped by a community support chap, and this was in Stockport the other week, and he had no idea of the law at all. So how come he'd been set out in the streets, I'm not sure, but I put in a complaint, and the police sent out a sergeant to sweet talk me, and he said to me, he said, I've been in the force quite a while, he said, do you know, it was 10 years in the force before I actually realised that people had the right to take pictures in public places, and they didn't need people's consent. And he'd put the guy right. They apologised, and the old guy apologised, the police community support officer. He just didn't understand the law, and the sergeant was very nice, they always are. We always send out the charm school chap to smooth things over until the next time. But as I say, at least they had the decency to apologise, and I apologised that the poor old chap, didn't understand the law, and it was something that I get very prickly about, our rights. And we've had to fight a lot of wars over the centuries to protect our rights, and the people have even risen up against governments in pursuance of keeping their rights and increasing them. And we don't want a few people coming to our country and trying to change that by threats and intimidation. Now, we've always had the odd driver that's been a bit naughty, let's say naughty, and we used to get the odd one. They're a bit of a character usually, and miserable gits in the canteen on the whole, and they give you the old fingers up, or even if they're very rude, the old one finger. And they were pretty infamous, and everybody knew who they were, and they became a bit of a joke, and even a joke amongst their colleagues, and we could cope with that. But that's all it was. It was somebody just being rude. Well, rude's one thing, but these other guys are another. And the rise of right-wing terrorism in Europe in recent years has demonstrated the dangers that lay with letting them take hold. And if anybody doubts the veracity of what I'm saying, if you look at the statistics, just look at the votes in various countries and how the right wing has risen in power, and it starts not far from our own shores. Well, it's your old mate Dave back again. You can't get rid of me that easy. Well, it was chucking it down with rain when I finished in Barnsley, and when I got back to the car there was some woman mithering me to have my parking space. So I tried to do it as quick as I can and managed to do a silent version of my goodbye. So instead of me with umbrella and hat and scarf, etc., I'm at the editing suite back at home, and it doesn't change my feelings at all. I had a good day despite the rain, no problems whatsoever. And on behalf of myself and Mandy at the PMP Film Archive, thanks for joining us on this further adventure, and we really do hope that you'll come along and join us again soon. And well, I won't deprive you of your favourite bit. So from me, now it's bye for now. See you all soon. I'm gonna have a cup of tea.